For generations, people have stared at the mirror wondering why hair that once grew with effortless abundance slowly thins, retreats, or disappears. Countless lotions, supplements, massages, and high-tech combs have arrived with bold promises, yet real and lasting regrowth remains elusive for many. Now a remarkable discovery from a group of researchers is shaking the entire foundation of hair science and hinting at a future where dormant follicles can be awakened through a language the body has used since the beginning of life. A language made not of chemicals or hormones but of electricity. This discovery does not involve jolts of current or external devices that buzz across the scalp. Instead, it dives into the natural electrical conversations that occur between cells. Hidden within the skin are support cells that quietly maintain tissue health. These cells hold a surprising ability that until recently went unnoticed. They carry a channel that manages their internal electrical state, almost like a tiny biological switchboard. When this switch is set to the correct electrical position, these cells send signals that can rouse silent follicles and push them back into active growth. To understand why this is groundbreaking, one must picture the common view of hair loss. Many believe that once a follicle stops producing hair, it has essentially died. This assumption has driven decades of treatments focused on stimulating circulation, blocking certain hormones, or surgically replacing follicles that seem beyond saving. Yet the new research suggests an entirely different reality. Follicles that appear inactive may not be dead at all. Instead, they may be alive but electrically muted, stuck in a quiet state where their growth programs cannot activate. Think of a room where the light bulb is functional but the switch on the wall has flipped off. Nothing is wrong with the bulb. The problem is that the signal to power it has been interrupted. Through careful study, the research team found that when they adjusted the electrical state of the support cells inside the skin, those cells began to communicate with neighboring follicles in a new way. They transmitted an internal pulse that essentially told the follicles to wake up. What followed was not just modest improvement but robust and healthy regrowth that surpassed what younger tissue naturally produces. Even follicles that had remained quiet due to age or hormonal influence responded with vitality once the electrical cue arrived. This is a profound revelation because it shows that hair loss may be far more reversible than previously believed. Current devices marketed to boost hair growth by applying light or external current treat the scalp from outside. They lack the precision to target the exact cellular switch responsible for follicle activation. In contrast, the newly discovered method works from within, tapping into the native system that cells already use to govern growth and repair. By restoring the correct electrical balance, the body essentially reactivates its own program for regeneration. There is another layer that adds even more promise. Researchers are now exploring compounds that can influence this specific electrical channel. These compounds do not shock the skin or introduce synthetic hormones. Instead, they nudge the channel into its active state and help maintain the necessary polarization that keeps follicles responsive. Such compounds may one day form the basis of creams, patches, or oral treatments that subtly restore the body's internal electricity without invasive procedures. Imagine a future where a person experiencing thinning hair does not turn to transplants, strong medications, or costly gadgets. Instead, they apply a simple therapy that adjusts the bioelectric environment of the scalp, allowing dormant follicles to awaken and grow again. Hair may no longer be viewed as a lost battle with age or genetics, but as a system that simply needs the right electrical cues to function as it once did. The broader implications extend far beyond scalp health. If cellular electricity can reactivate follicles, what else might it unlock? Many tissues in the body rely on similar electrical gradients. The same principle could one day influence wound repair, tissue regeneration, or even organ healing. By learning to speak the bioelectric language of cells, medical science may gain access to a new toolkit for treating conditions long considered difficult or irreversible. This discovery also highlights a shift in global biomedical innovation. For many years, work on hair regeneration has been dominated by a few large research hubs. Now a new wave of science is emerging from teams investing heavily in cross-disciplinary exploration. Their work is not focused on cosmetic quick fixes but on deep biological mechanisms that drive regeneration itself. This shift means future treatments may not be mere improvements on old ideas but entirely new strategies rooted in fundamental biology. For people living with thinning hair, the emotional weight can be immense. Hair frames identity. It influences confidence, social ease, and even career comfort for many individuals. A treatment that truly restores the body's natural growth cycle would provide more than a cosmetic lift. It would offer relief from long-held frustrations, dashed hopes, and the feeling that nothing seems to work. This new finding does not promise a miracle overnight, but it opens a door that was previously believed to be locked. Another fascinating aspect is how this discovery reframes the concept of aging. Hair follicles tend to grow in cycles. Over time, these cycles lengthen, weaken, and eventually stall. But the research indicates that these slowdowns may not be due to permanent damage. Instead, age may simply disrupt the electrical rhythms that guide the cycle. By restoring the rhythm, the cycle can begin again with strength. It gives a new meaning to the idea of aging gracefully, one rooted not in surrender but in biological renewal. One can picture future clinics where specialists examine a person's scalp not by counting follicles or measuring hormone levels alone, but by mapping electrical states across the skin. Treatments could then be tailored to gently adjust those states, allowing follicles to behave as they did in youth. Even areas long considered inactive may respond once the underlying electrical silence is broken. The discovery also challenges the culture of hopelessness that surrounds hair loss. Many have heard that nothing can bring back follicles once they stop producing hair. This belief has fed industries that rely on maintenance instead of regeneration. The new research turns that belief on its head. It suggests that the follicles are not gone. They are sleeping. And sleep can be broken when the right signal arrives. Beyond the scientific excitement lies a deeper human story. Millions across the world seek solutions not out of vanity but out of a desire to feel like themselves again. The possibility of a treatment built on natural cellular communication rather than drastic intervention brings a sense of hope that feels both scientific and humane. It bridges the gap between high-level research and everyday needs. If this field continues to advance, the impact could ripple across society. Companies may develop new therapies. People who once relied on temporary fixes might find long-term restoration. Medical schools may expand programs focused on bioelectric medicine. And a new era of regeneration science could emerge with relevance far beyond hair health. Although the journey from discovery to public treatment involves careful testing and development, the foundation has been laid. The key is not brute force stimulation but gentle guidance of the electrical language already present within the skin. This understanding changes the narrative of hair loss from a story of irreversible decline to one of dormant potential. For now the world watches with curiosity and optimism. A breakthrough that began with a question about silent follicles has opened a path toward a new future in regenerative science. It reminds us that the body contains remarkable capacities waiting to be rediscovered. And within that rediscovery lies the possibility that thinning hair may one day be a problem not of fate but of miscommunication, corrected by tuning the quiet electricity of life itself. If this discovery continues to advance, it may redefine how the world understands hair loss and renewal. A field once limited by old assumptions is now opening to the hidden electricity within every cell. The idea that silent follicles can awaken through a natural internal signal offers a sense of hope that feels both scientific and human. As research moves forward, many will be watching closely, waiting for the moment when this new understanding makes the leap from laboratory to everyday life. Until then, the promise of true regrowth remains closer than ever before.